information out there. Tonight's going to be a little bit different. We're gonna talk about with Sergeant Riggleman here. What recruiting flyers don't tell you. How you doing, Sergeant Riggleman?
Not bad. How about yourself?
Good. All right. So we're going to show this video and be right back after this. As soon as I find it, there we go. Now you got to like that video. Come on.
Oh yeah, it was pretty epic actually.
Yeah, it's like $35 for that. That's it. You
Oh,
know, this gentleman he's a young man over in Bangladesh from that Fever app, whatever. And I've known him for like 2 years making different videos. And I think you can relate to a lot of those words and staffing, recruitment. And he just did a great job on that. And I was like, hey, for $35, I'll take it.
yeah,
Um,
no, that's-
I love the subject tonight. It's going to be a little bit different than we've done in the last shows with the recruiters. And when Cynthia sent it, I like it. What recruiting flyers don't tell you. And I read that a couple times and I was like, that is so true because you see the flyers of the Army, see everything, but you don't know the why, everything behind it. You got to go by, somebody's father or somebody that's been in the military. But if you could introduce yourself now, Sergeant Riggleman, and talk about your career, and then we're going to go right into it.
no problem. Hi, I'm Staff Sergeant Riggleman. Originally from a place called Altoona, Pennsylvania. I've been in the Army 10 years now. Started out as an infantryman. Great experience. Spent the first 6 years of my Army
Nice.
doing that, playing in the dirt, as some would say, but learned a lot. And then from that 6 year part, I bumped up to recruiting. It was a little iffy at first, a little unknown world because I joined the Army to play in the dirt. And
Right.
back in high school where I graduated and left how long ago?
I love it. I love it.
First year
Um,
was all new again.
Love it. I have to show this. Cynthia asked me. I'm sorry, but I got to show this to everybody. So everybody says, I should have tried some of my pictures, but these pictures of you before going into the military, everybody says, what does a military person look like going in? I got to love this one. Here you go. You got,
Wow.
how old were you right there?
Probably right around 17, I think so. Maybe
Now
16.
everybody can look at that and say that is a typical military. And then there's one more here. I gotta love it. Here you go. I love it.
Oh yeah, that
What
was
the heck are you
even.
doing?
I kept that look for a long time too, including after high school for a little bit. So
I'll tell you, that must have been something when you got the pictures of everything when you shaved your head off, and your parents must have been like, "Woo!"
oh yeah, they said that was the first thing. What are you gonna do about your hair? And I said, well, what hair? It's not gonna be there anymore. So, but it was a lot of fun.
I gotta love it because
Yeah,
especially when you first sign up like that, and you're going in there to the unexpected, and then your hair goes, but then everybody else's hair is gone. So it really wasn't a really big deal once you got that off. But what made you think about with a recruiter? Did they just come to you in the military and say, "Hey, Sergeant Riggleman, would you like to be a recruiter?" Or how did it happen?
Kinda. It's both ways with that. And by both ways, I mean, once you get so far in your career, they say, okay, hey, you've done enough time in the Army, you got enough experience, you can get a broadening assignment. It's going to help you in
Okay.
your career be diverse. Either recruiting or a drill sergeant is usually the top two choices.
Right.
If you don't choose ahead of time, the Army, looks at your career and chooses for you.
Wow.
I got chosen for recruiting.
Does that happen majority of the time with everybody around your, like you said, 10 years? That's a lot, 10 years, and we talked about, you said you want to do that 20. And are you, with the 10 years now, and I love talking because this is like behind the scenes and candid, and
Oh, yeah.
what do you think about like right now, having 10 years, you have this job now, what goes through your mind now for like the next 10 to be retired?
Well, I'm glad you asked. The first few years went by like that. Like it was the fastest, most important part of my life that went by in a blink of an eye. The
Right,
reason why I bring that up when it comes to 10 years is after the first 3 years, I wasn't done yet. I was like, wait a minute, no, like there's so much more I heard about and I want to do, and I heard about other people doing. Like, yeah, sign me up more.
right.
So after finishing 10 years, another 10 years, I'm like, that's nothing, honestly. It's
No, not when you look at it. So did you do, like, 4 and then another 4? How did you get to the 10? Like, how did that work for you?
I signed up for three. So
Okay,
changes the standard initial contract. I did the initial is the best way
right,
to put it. And then once you get in your window, it's about a year. They ask you, hey, what do you want to keep on doing, or do you want to get out? I was like, I want to stay in. What's available? They gave me different options.
right,
Why I say that is because I didn't have to do five. I chose to do five, which it came with a bonus that helped a little bit. Uh,
right,
but then I did three, five, and that took me to going into my 10. I extended for 1 year in between,
right.
with different subjects. Sometimes you get those options, which put me at my 10-year mark. So
Love it. And
five,
how
one,
does your
and
family feel like with that? Do you just, that's a long time, and I want people to realize, again, I like that. What recruiting flyers don't tell you is, your family behind you, and that's got to be a big thing too, because how do you come to that decision?
so that was a big decision. A lot of people, like the applicants I talked to, they talk to their parents and bring them into it, and they walk them through the steps, and they come in. I showed up to my parents after I spoke to a recruiter, and keep in mind, I was 25 when I joined. I was a little older, so I
Right,
kind of thought I knew what I was doing a little bit.
right,
But I told him, I was like, "Hey, I'm joining the army." Like, "Oh, you're thinking about it?" I was like, "No, no, no. I leave on this date. I'm joining the army." Um, but yeah, so my family was like, you're joining the army." I mean, I kind of brought it up a little bit, but judging by those
right.
pictures, not too many people, which is awesome. I love when they say, "Wait a minute, like that's you." You don't really get the impression that, hey, that's going to be a military guy, or hey, I can see that guy in 10 years being a recruiter on a podcast. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, because I never would have thought. I did the 4. I just never would have. I didn't think about, re-upping after that. I told you I was over Korea, and I wanted to go to Germany, but they wanted to send me to Fort Polk, and I was like, "No, no, 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 no." I didn't want to do that. But, the military was so different back then. When I asked you tonight, I mean, my favorite thing is videos. I had to ask, "Do you have the yearbook?" Because I didn't ask anybody. So this is 38 years old. I feel like I'm a little bit older now, but the stuff in here doesn't change, I'm sure. You know?
correct. So I did my basic training at Fort Benning, Georgia. Paul,
Oh, that's
it's
hot.
yeah, yeah. But yes, they still offer the career, or it's called something else. But yes, the yearbook. I definitely
Right,
got my parents have it at their house. They show it like baby pictures.
right.
But yes, they still
Love
offer
it.
those. And even when you do courses, sometimes now too, they offer like group photos and your class photos and stuff like that too. So
Yeah, because I think it's great. Because I've tried to reach out. We didn't have the social media, but I try to reach out to a lot of my friends, and that's part of the benefit of after the military. I look at is it's so cool because you don't. I don't know about you. I'm sure you always remember the people you went to basic with.
oh my
It's
gosh.
just like high school, right? I mean, you get that feeling. You're looking at your book. You're like, wow, I remember him.
And actually, I don't want to interrupt you. What they're doing now, obviously, with the advancement of technology and stuff, they're actually offering CDs of videos of clips of you doing stuff at basic training. So the gas
Oh,
chamber, climbing walls, they actually have that on video now, and you get the CD with the book. So
that's friggin' awesome to
mhm.
even think. So that's what I'm saying, how it evolved, for things like that. Because, when we talk about, like the culture, we talk about on the civilian side of like where my company is, what I've done, what's the culture? Because everybody can choose where they want to go in their life. Like, wow, I really want to work with this company. Why? Why is it? Because usually if a company portrays itself out there, you see it. So when you look at the military, how do you feel culture sets in there? Like, I mean, do you think the videos? Do you think the commercials? Do you think
Oh man,
the family has a lot about, like my brothers? Everybody says go in. How much does that have to do with it?
the culture is amazing. The videos and the posters and things we put out now is just a fraction. Of course,
Nice.
the clip of the smiling and stuff like that, but there's not enough video in the world to express how much the culture is in there. It's tight. It's almost kind of like a club, like
Right.
culture wise, because everybody's aware of it, but only the people in it know how you really get along and the things
Right.
you do and the types of ways we interact with each other and the jokes and.
Yep.
But I'll wait for you to ask more more of a question and follow up on that. So,
No, and that's a good. And then, what made you choose? What made you decide at that point? Were you just like at 25? You know what?
oh man,
I'm going to go in the army, or my brothers did, my family did, or did you have other friends, or what made you look at and why the Army, because whatever all the other branches. Listen, you can tell by my background, I love the Army. That's
Yeah,
just me.
that's awesome.
But what made you decide at 25 years old to do this?
This is my favorite question, and I love telling it to my applicants because they ask, their family asks, their friends
Right.
ask, their parents ask. So I'm going to try and condense it, because I could tell you probably about a good half hour good story on it. But
Right. That's all right.
the best part is I was working at a call center at 25. It was my first real job. Keep in mind, I'm
Right.
25, and I seen a picture. This is no joke. I seen a picture of a guy holding a rifle in a uniform, with all his buddies around him, having the best time. But they had dirt on their face. They looked ragged. You can tell, like, the sweat stains. Like, they've been out there for a while, but they
Right.
all looked happy, like, winning a championship at a football game. I was like, that's awesome. I was like, hey, man. And he was a friend of mine. I was like, hey, like, were you in the Army? Tell me about it, because I've been thinking about it, I've been dabbling, but like I don't really know too many people other than my dad, and
Right.
not for a while. I was like, what is that? Tell me about that picture right there, because that looks awesome. He broke down a story. He said it was a great training event, and that was the last day of the training. And they've got wet, dirty, all kinds of stuff. And, things broke down, they lost stuff, but they were happy at the end. And I was like, man, that story. He told me the story. I was like, okay, I'm sold. Like, what do I do now? He's like, oh, you got to talk to a recruiter. I was like, okay, let's go to a recruiting office, this is very rare, but in the recruiting world, we call this a unicorn. I was a unicorn.
Okay.
I open the door, say, hey, I want to join the Army. I'm ready to go. Here's my paperwork. I had my birth certificate, everything like that. I was like, when can I go? First thing my recruiter said, he's like, are you in trouble? I was like, no.
I love it. I love it.
Life change. He's like, what do you do now? And I explained it to him. He's like, okay. He's like, are you about to be arrested? I was like, no. He's like, I'm not running from anything. He's like, so you want to join right now today? I was like, yeah, what do I do?
Right.
Went through the process, walked me through it. He's like, all right. He's like, what else aren't you telling me? I was like, nothing. He's like, did your family know? I was like, yeah. You married? I was like, no, I'm a single soldier. I got no
Right.
responsibilities that I need to worry about. Like, let's go. And he couldn't believe it. Like, they actually, I found out after I enlisted, they purposely held off my appointment a little bit to see if I was
Right.
actually serious. I came back and
Love
he told me, we laughed about it. But basically, the reason why I joined is I wanted what was in that picture. He looked like he had friends. He was happy. He was
Right.
doing something. You can't fake that picture right there.
And that's what I like this conversation about, is because nobody would know this about you. That's what makes you, like, what do you see, like, when the younger generation comes in now? Like, what are they telling you? Are they saying, like, do you ask them, why are you here? Why do you want to join the Army? And do you hear almost the same thing? Like, what do you feel there?
I like to say I have a good judge of body language, stuff like that. I usually try and read them a little bit first, but yes, I do ask the questions. Why are you here? First question, why are you here? If they walk in, sometimes it's different if you're at a high school. It says, why aren't you in my office?
Right.
The best questions are why. I don't like to ask what you want to do and why you want to do it. I say, why aren't you doing this? Why don't you think you can do this? Because then they always get that look in their face like, nobody ever asked it this way. But the answers are different now. I wanted what was in that picture, and it's so hard to find what people want now because
Right.
they don't know what they want.
Right.
So then I go on and tell my story. I'm like, hey, you might not want this, but here's what I did and why I did it. Maybe that'll help spark something in you to get you to figure out.
That's got to be amazing. And then for you, I mean, as a recruiter now, that's got to be something too, because I think the recruiters are really the way to get people to join. Because let's face it, I mean, they're seeing those pictures, they're seeing those flyers, and then now they're sitting in front of you,
Mhm.
So that's what I think. What I enjoy doing these shows for is how you have to be candid, but yet you have to be honest. You have to be right out. You don't want to, you're not going to tell them things that they don't want to hear. You're going to be honest. You have to be, because they're relying on you and the parents and everything about you to get them to join the Army.
Yes, and there's some misconceptions which I'm sure we'll get to, but like I'm not a car salesman. That's not my style of recruiting because I
Right.
don't need to sell you something. I just tell my story. I tell other
Love
people's
it.
stories for them. Hey, this is why so and so did it. This is why so and so did. I never try and put a price on an object because it's not an object. It's a lifestyle. You can't
Right.
sell a lifestyle. You talk it and you see it and you hear about it and then you decided which one you want. So
Love it. Just to even get there like that. What made you, when you first started out, like leadership? One of the first things before we go into some of these questions
yeah.
is leadership has got to be the real. In my book is leadership has brought me from the time I left the military. I told you, to where I was E1 graduated basic training AIT, and then before I knew it, I was promoted just to an acting corporal and teaching AIT 2-3 days later. And I was like, whoa. Then a platoon being a platoon leader in basic training. So that's where I think that it hit me, like, because I didn't even know anything about leadership. Now that I'm out of the military and all these years, is all of my brothers, all of us, I think that is one of the biggest thing, when it hit me of, wow, that's what the military did for me.
Oh man. So I'm not trying to sound arrogant or anything like that. I just didn't know at the time. But
Right.
after being in the military, it made me realize I kind of was a natural leader. But I played sports when I was in high school.
Same.
But I was also, a quiet kid too. I was friends with a lot of people because I could communicate with people. So,
Right.
which kind of made me the leader in the group without knowing it at the time. But getting in the military, not knowing that I was a leader, really set the tone because I've seen my leaders and what they did and how they acted, and
Right.
they gave me an image. I'm like, man, that guy's so cool. I want to be like that guy. How do I
See?
get to be like him? And I would take the best qualities from all the leaders around me and be like, hey, I'm going to use that. I'm going to quote him on this. I'm going
Right.
to do things this way because that's how the leader I idolized did it. And it made me who I am today. Is all the different leadership styles are out there. Like usually when you go to some places, it has the same style. It
Right.
might be a little different, like another job, but generally it's the same leader. Do this, do this, do this. In
Right.
the Army, you get to meet so many different styles,
See,
people from different
that's
backgrounds, and you get to
that's
soak all that in. You have the opportunity to take from all of them and make it your own.
see,
And
that's why I always looked at, even in civilian world now, is I always say, God, I'd like to have that person's skill, this one, this one, this one, and I would be ideal. I don't think anybody could touch it, And that's what I meant is the leadership, just like you said, you knew right what to say there. It just comes right off of you, what you're saying. And I think anybody being in the military knows that. I didn't know what it was,
I'll say,
and
don't get me
so when
wrong.
somebody says, yep, when did you become a leader? At 21, when I'm out of the military and I'm doing nothing but management jobs. It just came back, and I look at it now, and you see a lot of veterans in leadership roles in the civilian market. So when you get out, everybody, you just have it, and people see it at work. And that's why, like some of our teams, everybody's a veteran. I always just say I do what I'm told. Going in the military, I'm sorry, I do what I'm told, whether I like it or not. I do it. I might come back and question you a little bit. I might say, well, but if you're telling me to do it, I do it.
And that's one of the best things I took from it too. Is like, keep in mind, being a private, I wasn't a leader. I was a 25-year-old thinking I had life experience. Hey, I know stuff. And I got to the Army. I'm like, this is a whole new world. I don't know anything Army. And then as I progressed, I found out that, hey, I can be a leader. And the Army sets you up for that. They give you a little task, without you knowing it, you're grooming to be a leader. And then I look at myself now. I'm like, hey, I can manage and have managed other soldiers. Oh, man,
Right.
I'm a leader. And it definitely sets you up for success, even if you don't stay in the military. Once you get out, like you said,
Yeah.
you can see it. You can tell.
And that's what is the difference here. And one of the things where life out of the uniform, I kind of like that when I say that over, life out of the uniform. And whether that's during it, while you're in, when you get into those civilian clothes, or when you're out of the military, when you were in there and getting out of those civilian clothes, what hobbies or activities are popular among soldiers when you go that route? Like, because they're in civilian clothes now, you're like, hey, what do you do? What do you do?
Well, it might be different. I eat, sleep, and bathe in this uniform. I go in showers in this uniform. No, I'm joking.
Right. I love it.
Believe it or not, it does come off, and
Right.
I'm glad you asked that as well, because my first impression. Keep in mind, I'm 25 years old. I'm thinking I got a lot of life knowledge, and
Right.
I brought 2 pairs of jeans and 3 T-shirts
See,
for after basic
it.
training because I thought this is all I wear, and if I'm not wearing this, I'm wearing PTs.
Right.
So once I got to my unit, I told him, I was like, I don't have any clothes. I need to buy some real clothes. But some of the hobbies, I mean, that's another thing too, a misconception. They say, oh, you're in the military, that's just all you're going to do all the time.
Right.
I've done, I love this. I've done more activities in the Army out of my uniform than I did
Right.
when I never put the uniform on.
That's what I figured. Yeah.
I've been on the mountains of Breckenridge, Colorado. I've
Nice.
walked the thing called the incline, which is a mile up, all in civilians in normal clothes. I've been to different concerts when I was in Fort Riley, Kansas. I've went out to
Right.
Denver. I've done all this traveling as a civilian. Like on the weekends, I explored.
That's what people don't realize. And that brings me to the question, like, is, there is a life while you're in the. It's just not the army because you're saying it right there. You still get like, what's a day in your shoes like? What is a day now? Take me back when you were in the infantry,
Yes, yes, I
and
was
then
about.
just do me a day in the recruiting here, but like two different things there. So people understand that there are things to do because we did have weekends off. We worked regular hours at the motor pool sometimes. And then we had 3-day weekends even sometimes.
Oh, hey, it's bumped up to 4-day weekends sometimes now too.
See?
Yeah, but yeah. So it's almost like a 9 to 5, and people still to this day refuse. You coming for me? I'm in. Hey, I'm in. Like
Right.
it can be like a 9 to 5 sometimes. Now, granted, sometimes you work longer days, but you always end
Yep.
up getting that time back. Especially your leaders taking care of soldiers, they make sure you get your time back if
Yep.
it's on a weekend or something like that. But you wake up, you do your PT, which I had a little trouble adjusting to in the beginning because
Right.
waking up that early. But
Now, can I just stop you right there? When you say the PT, is that so people know? Is
uh,
that once you're graduated, right? Is that normal right now? I mean, let's face it. Now, whether that was one of my questions, like normal day to start, because that's what we did, even though, we didn't live off a post. I wasn't married, but what's the difference right there of doing your PT to where if you living off post, like what's the difference there?
Oh man! So living off post, so if you're on post, you're a single soldier, housing provided, you live in a barracks.
Right.
You're usually right by where your PT area will be. So you wake up,
Okay.
form up. If you're off post, you still come in for PT. Uh,
See, that's what I thought. Okay.
the point of that in the morning is getting everybody together and accountability. So, hey, I see all your faces. I'm happy you're here. I know all of you are here. Nobody's missing. We're good. Now we can go about our day.
Okay.
The PT is getting people together too. Like you do PT with your tight formations, you do it with
Right.
your units, then you do it on a battalion level. Is building that camaraderie, building that trust, building that. Hey, these guys that you're PTing with right now, you're going to
Right.
see when you're done in the morning. You're going to see them in the afternoon. You're going to hang out with them on the weekends. You're going
See.
to build that relationship together. So it all starts in the very first thing in the
Mhm.
morning with PT, and then you go about your day, whatever tasks you have to do. You get a lunch break.
I know, right?
A lot of people don't think that. You think it's just sun up,
Love it.
sun down,
Right.
which is
So
typically
they
about
can
an hour
see
and a
that
half.
there is a life. It's not just like,
Yes.
and people, I saw that. So when versus being married and everything, which I was single, and I wasn't married in the military, and I even in Korea we had our set days. We did the PT. We went to the motor pool. We worked. We had our lunch. We came back. We did our finished up our 4 to 5 hours. We came up to the and ate dinner, and then the night was ours. We didn't. It was normal. So people know that it is normal.
And just a side note there, just because you're on post doing PT, if you have a driver's license, have a vehicle, you can drive off post and go to your favorite restaurant. You can go to Qdoba, wherever the food is. It's not you're constricted to inside a wall, so to speak. So
Right.
you got that
That's
freedom.
what I love because you can still. I imagine the ones that have to get up even earlier to be there, but whether married, they have to drive in to do PT. But you know what? That's part of it. Part of being a family, and I'm sure that they still some people live on post. I'm sure, and
Mhm.
then they live off post. I guess it all depends now what state and whatever.
Well, options are available for both. So,
Is it? It's in
so
there
they
for
have on
both.
post housing, and if you live off post, they have BH housing allowance, where you get that extra money to compensate for like
Through there.
whatever is in the area.
So
So.
when you're off of work like now, in your position, you come to work now. How do you do like PT and everything like now as a recruiter?
So
Here we
Uh,
go.
once you hit the recruiting level, you're at the rank where you're responsible. You're non-commissioned officer, right? You're
Right.
entrusted, do the right thing. Nobody's looking. Have integrity. I still wake up early because this is gonna sound a little sappy, but I enjoy seeing the sun come up. I've seen
Right.
more sunrises than I have in the past 10 years in the army than I ever have up
See,
until
love
then.
it. It's the little things like that.
Oh yeah, a Kansas sunrise, a Colorado sunrise. Man, I promise that's. But I still wake up
Right.
early. Only now, like I necessarily don't have to wake up at 6:30 if I don't want to, but I still try and get it in before I start the workday because that routine helps me get in the mindset of where I need to be. Like, hey,
Review.
get to work, and then after work, you have the option. I can go work out in the gym on my own if I want to, but it's not as organized in a group. Just because the way recruiting is, you guys are kind of on your own.
See, that's what I love, and people again can see, what's behind the flyers.
Yeah,
It's a normal life. Besides, that's what I like talking about. How does the army ensure discipline and routine without stifling individually?
So that's a good question. So discipline routine, it's typically through standards,
Right.
right? Having a high level of standards. just because you hear the word high level standards doesn't, what it translates as is here's the minimum thing you have to do to complete the task we require you to do. So there's
Right.
nothing wrong with standards, right? Does that ruin your individuality for having standards? No.
No.
So having standards, having discipline, right? You're an adult, right? You're trusted. You're 18 usually when you join the army. We're
Right.
giving you the trust of being an adult to be responsible and take care of your stuff. So being responsible doesn't change who you are as an individual, right? You can
Right.
be a soldier and you could be in a rock band and still have responsibilities and being responsible.
See, it's the same thing.
And then the best thing is leadership is how they keep that in line as well.
See.
Um, your leaders are to show you the standards, are to show you what discipline looks like. They
Right.
are the image of what a soldier is. Those three things I think would be the main there. Now, any of those three, does it say, hey, you have to change who you are? You have to conform. You can't do this. You can't do that.
Right.
They're all things that we can do without changing who you are.
Changing that. See, I don't know why this question just came to me now, but do they still have the 24 hours where you got to be on, where you're awake for 24 hours at the CO's
Active duty
office?
and CQ.
Do they still have that?
So on active duty posts, yes. And
Okay,
that's,
because that's what I wasn't sure. I was like, I wonder if they have that. I was thinking that today. I wonder if they even have that now.
little secret, you don't have to do that on recruiting. So
See? All right, there we go.
yeah, that's one of the benefits of recruiting. But yeah, it still happens, and it's not bad. You get your time back.
I love it. How do you, the work-life balance, we look at work-life balance, right? I look at it just like now, like everybody says, wow, your work, you do the show, you DJ, you do all this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, it's called work-life balance. I gotta know what I'm doing, and I really focus on. And I think that's where the military has helped me. Just because I'm doing a lot of things, I do it smarter.
Yes.
Not harder,
Yes.
because I would never be able to do shows like this. I would never be able to do the DJing on the weekends, my son and family, and also work and all the stress there. How do you do that? And even what do you tell young ones coming into your office about? Because listen, before COVID, we never heard of this work-life balance. I mean,
Yep.
nobody heard about it. It's like work-life balance. Listen, you work. When you're done, you're done. But people nowadays, it is a little bit different. We do cater. I don't want to say cater, but we have to work with everybody and try to teach them what the military does, because it is the different structure.
The best one. Another good question I love answering is the work life balance. Again, it's going to sound a little cheesy, but
Right.
when you start to love what you do, it's hard to
Love it.
find the difference between work life and not work life. Because when people say, how do you balance your life and work life? I'm like, well, I love what I do and it's a part of my life. So then I'm not really balancing anything. I'm just living life.
Right.
Right there. It sounds cheesy, but
No,
yeah.
how do you put that on a flyer? You know what I mean? That's why I love
always
about this subject like this. How do you put that on a flyer and sell it to someone? Because I'm glad they get this. I love this conversation with you, because it just puts it out there saying, wow, how do you get this message out to everyone?
I fell in love with the Army the first 3 years. Like I said, it went by so fast. I met so many people. I've done so much. And I am married now, happily.
Right. All right. That's good.
But I didn't start out that way. I joined the Army
Right.
single. So I got to experience that too before being married. And the single life is you meet friends, you take a little risk. And by risk, I mean get out of your comfort zone, because that
Right.
will present itself, because you're going to be in a place that you've never been. You're going to be around people you've never seen. And
Right.
you go out and do things, right? And once you realize that you're going back to work with those same people, you start to realize that your work life is becoming a part of your social life,
Right.
and which isn't a bad thing. And now on the married side, if you're going out to the field, that's training where
Right.
you go out and simulate what you've been training for in your job field. Sometimes that can be a week or two where you won't
Right.
be doing home.
Yep.
And communication is what my answer is right now when it comes to that. Balancing work life and family life is communicating back and forth with your others. Hey, I'm going to be doing this. How do you feel about it? Hey, I'm going to be gone for this long. Is everything taken care of? Do we have a plan? Is it blah, blah, blah.
Did you have that conversation before you got married there? Because that's a really good the way you say that. Is it something, listen, a lot of people say, they'll ask that question. Well, what happens if you're married? You deploy, all these different things. There's so many questions, that I'm sure you get asked. But did you just, from your experience, you sit down with your future wife and say, listen, if you're going to have kids and all this is what the Army can do for you, because they're just as important, the family. And it seems like the more I do these shows is, wow, the military is really, really, the Army's taking a look at helping the families, because they're just as important, so you can do your job. But what did you do? Just sit down and say, listen, before, whether you're a recruiter or not, and what can happen?
That's also a unique scenario, and a very good question. Sometimes it's not always the same, but I knew my wife a long time before I joined the
Right.
army, so she knew I was going to do it before we officially dated. But once we got official, I said, "Hey, I got my first duty station." Once I got there, I found out I was deploying
Okay.
before we got married, and
Right.
I said, "Hey." She didn't know this. It was a little bit of a test. I told her after we got married and stuff, but
Right.
we were testing me. But I was like, "Hey, I'm going to go on this deployment. When I get back, let's talk about getting married." And we talked.
Right.
We communicated. We set up times to balance it and communicate, and then call each
Right.
other and all that stuff. And I came back and I was like, "Hey, like how did you get through this? What were your feelings for this deployment? Did you like it?
Right.
Is this something you could see yourself maybe happening again?" And she's like, "It wasn't that bad. I like this. This is okay. I love you." And it went from there. Um,
Right.
but having that communication was the biggest thing. If we didn't have that there, I could see it going a different way.
Right.
But it's working out. She's enjoyed meeting some of the people, some of my best friends. I'm like, "Hey, this is so and so. I met him 5 years ago. Why don't you guys talk every day?" Well, we don't need to, but when we do talk, it's the best conversation ever. And
So,
yeah, it's
and then even like that, I knew a lot of people that part of being a family was, wow, you could listen, the wife or husband or whatever, if you're male, female in the army, they can work also. There's no difference. They can work there's a lot of on post jobs, I'm sure, like it was back then too. And then they can work like a normal life. And again, this is what you can't show on a flyer because everybody thinks, well, you're not going to see your wife, you're not going to see your kids. And the way it's set up anymore, I just don't believe that. I mean, I think the Army's done a great job for that.
and that goes back to the leadership part too. When you kind of like answering a question when you get in, but like when you get in and you meet your leaders,
Right.
some advice here is let them know what your hobbies are. Let them know you are a person. Let them know the things you care about. Because that's what I did. I was like, "Hey, when I first came to single soldier, I'm like, I just care
Right.
about making sure I get time to play some paintball on the weekends and make sure I have the money to do it. Like that's what I really care about." Like, all right, sorry, Ringleman. And I actually got to, I don't say skip out on a training, but I got accommodated because it was something really meant to me for a tournament. And I
Right.
get families too. I've had soldiers come to me in my leadership positions like, "Hey, me and my wife, we're very new to this. We're newlyweds. We don't have any kids, but like, we're very new to the area. She's kind of shy." I'm like, "All right, hey, basically making sure your wife is accommodated for and meeting people,
Right.
that's my priority now." And that's, as leaders, that's what they do. They make sure you get taken care of. So I introduced them to other families who are, same thing. And she ended up making best friends with my friends, and then we're now all one family. Like
That's what I mean. And again, people, you can have a life, a normal life and with a family and even kids, I can imagine. I mean, like schooling and everything. They go to a regular school, right? I mean, there's
yes,
no difference right now. There's no difference. Your kids go to school just like anybody else. They come home, they see
they
their
miss the bus
family.
just like everybody else's kids sometimes too, and you have to take them to school, which is the thing I have to do, but that's okay.
Right. And that's it. And I can imagine, because now do they go to school wherever there's a school in the township or wherever you live if you're living off post, right?
Correct. And even some posts now have schools. Most of them have
Really?
elementary schools. Yes, sir.
Wow.
And some of them even up into high school as well. So if that's a
Man.
worry about going in the area, no, keep in mind every post is different depending on size. But
Right. That has got to change. Was there anything that shocked you about the military or anything before joining or even while you're in here? Is there anything you say like, wow, I didn't know that? Well, you know what I mean? Or it's just something that shocked you and
one thing, oh my gosh,
right.
I guess I can think of one.
Yeah,
There's so
right.
many. Um, the biggest thing is, so going in, I had kind of the image I think a lot of people do that I can relate to is could be a lot of yelling, a lot of push-ups, a
Right.
lot of eating out of vacuum sealed bags. And
Oh, yeah, I love it.
I'm going to give a shout out too, because this blew my mind. Fort Riley, Kansas, they have a place
Right.
called the Warrior Zone. And that's my first duty station. Like, what's the Warrior Zone? It is a place for soldiers on post,
Right.
provide designated drivers on the weekends. And why I say that is for 21 or older, they serve alcohol. They have 4 pool tables. They show pay-per-view events free of charge to the
Wow.
soldiers.
See?
They have gaming centers. They have a movie theater. They have magic nights. They have Dungeons and Dragon nights. They have a patio out back that has fire. They have cornhole tournaments, all paid for through the MWR and through the post. And you can
Okay.
go there daily. I'm like, this is a lounge. And they're like, "Oh, you've never been here?" Well, we got several of them on different posts. Have
Right.
similar things. So I was like, why did my recruiter never tell me about this? Like and they have stuff like that everywhere. So that was one thing. And then the second
Love it.
biggest thing is how close and similar to a 9 to 5 job you have.
Right.
You go in, you do your work, you go home, day's yours. Like it's
And you get paid, right? You get paid, you know? And that's the best part. I got one more question for you. I can't believe we're already at 35 minutes. I knew it. It goes
I just
fast.
noticed that. Yeah,
Yeah, and it
I'm
goes
having a good
fast.
time.
And
I'm having a good time.
yeah, and I didn't even hit a lot of this. That's why I'm great to I would love to have you back, because
Oh, I'd
there's
love to
so
do
many
that.
more things that you can do. But the one thing here about like PCS moves and family adaptation, like what do you tell people that or where you can get deployed? What happens to your family? You can, what is PCS moves and all that?
If you decide to stay in long enough and you decide to re up, which if you do a contract, you will get that question: Hey, do you want to
Right.
stay in or you know get out? And PCSing is a permanent change of station,
Okay.
and usually when you get your second round of re upping, you choose where you want to go, which
See, I
we
love that.
have.
See, this is what somebody doesn't tell you. They think, hey, you're going to that Fort Polk or you're going there. That's not like I was in Kentucky and I told you I volunteered to go to Korea because I didn't want to stay there. I was young and I was like, I don't want to sit at Fort Knox for 4 years. I want to get out and I wanted to see something. Germany, see something
Because
because people don't realize what you do.
and kind of like I'll use your parents as an example. The army wants to see you diversify, right? Like if you stay in one place too long, you get too
Right.
comfortable, you never get to see the rest of the world. And if you experienced and got a bunch of training, they want you to share that training everywhere throughout your career.
Right.
So they love promoting that idea of like, well, that option of, hey, where do you want to go next? And I heard that Colorado is the best kept secret in the army, which is
Right.
an amazing post. But so yeah, you get the option. And then for as far as deployments, I've been on 2 deployments. So it was a very big shock. It was probably about 2016,
Right.
2017. And I was told I was going to Iraq. And, you as a person, even though you signed up and, hey, I'm military, I've accepted, you got past the acceptance points, there's
Right.
still that initial point of like, oh, I'm getting deployed and it's not to, a fun place. So
Right. That's what I mean. Yep. Exactly. And that's why I'm glad you're talking about it.
yeah, and that's where the training comes in too. Like when you go through your basic training, you learn to change your mindset on certain things too.
Right.
You learn to accept and translate things differently as well, such as things as like hard, straight news, straight to the point,
Right.
rather than panicking and debating. You're like, all right, cool, you accept it. Sharing with your family can be different because they didn't have the same type of training or preparation for the possibility as well.
Right.
Which is
That's right. They don't.
it's a hard time. Back to the communication thing, like, hey, I'm going to be doing this. How do you feel? What do you want from me, or what can I do while I'm there to help make it easier for you?
Right.
Finding out how your family feels because you're already accepted it. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
but as long as you keep that communication, deployments now, some of the best food I ate was while I was on deployment.
I love it. I love
times
it.
have
See?
changed. So, but yeah, you get treated good. The pay is different. It actually goes up.
Right.
That's a whole
Goes
other
up.
subject. But yeah, it's not bad, but preparation is key. Making sure you're prepared and don't just leave your family in the dark and tell them you're in a different country 3 days later.
Yeah, and I'm sure you see one of your significant others or someone would ask you, "Hey, do they have a post in Virginia? Do they have a post in here?"
And
Because listen, I mean, you can put yourself up on levy and go somewhere. I just think that's a great thing to be so people know that you're not just in one spot. Yeah, you might not like when you first got where you're first going, but there's always that option to where, you know what, I've got a family now, or if I even stay single, if you're don't have a family, you're still, there's no difference. You have a job.
you hit
You're at
like
a
four
job. It's
different
just
subjects
where
right
you put
there.
your boots.
But I did want to hit the one real quick is
Yeah.
even at your first duty station, upon enlisting, you get the option now most of the time, depending on your job.
Right.
But you get to choose your duty station. So
See, and that there would even be like, whoa, especially
that's
for
a
where you
big
want to
incentive
sign
now.
up. But if you could take this time again, introduce yourself, Sergeant Riggleman, where you're at, how can people get a hold of you? I will put your information in the comments. I'll put that in there so anybody can reach out to you. So if anybody has any questions, please feel free to, reach out to you, give you a call, anything that you'd like.
Yeah, no problem. Again, I'm Staff Sergeant Ruman. I'm located here at Harrisburg Recruiting Battalion. We do have a Go Army PA Instagram page, which the title was in that, Go Army PA.
Love it.
Check it out. We do a lot of social media, and we cover a lot of the recruiting stations in the area. So even if you're trying to reach myself, but you're in a different part of the area, we can get you in touch with somebody in that area who is in our battalion.
That you can go and they can bring their families in with you, come and see you, right? And
I
your wife,
encourage you to
husband.
bring friends and families to come talk because I love convincing one of them sometimes as well to join with you. So I have no problem
Yeah.
talking to friends and
But
family.
no, but that's true though, because you can. What a way to, I'd be the same way. Like, I want to bring my son, and I'm going to bring to talk to him, and that's just the way it's going to be. I want to bring my wife. I think it's not the new way, but it's the right way because everybody you can talk to them just like we're having this conversation, and they're going to have the same questions that I just asked you.
I
And
agree.
with your experience, you've been on both. If you want to say both sides, now you're married and you're single.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, you've been on both sides, and it makes you so qualified for them to ask you the questions. But
One last thing on that,
yeah,
because I actually had an applicant come in one time. He wanted to join the army, stuff like that. And one of the first questions after we get to talking, I'm like, "Hey, do your parents know? Does your family know? Does the one you care about most know?" "Oh no, I
right.
didn't tell my parents." I kid you not. I'm like, pull out your phone,
Love it.
call your mom, tell her you're here right now.
Right.
He's like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, yeah. I want to meet your mother. I want to talk to her. I want her to let her know her baby boy's talking to me." So I have no problem doing that. So
I love it because that would, get them in here because
yeah,
then when you go home, it was like when I did that, it wasn't a shock because my dad dropped us off, but it wasn't, I don't know, back then it was just different. A lot of people just went in, but you didn't, I didn't, that wasn't my path. Do I regret getting that? I always say, listen, I would have been retired a while ago. And, another show, we'll talk even about that and how it affects me because only the 4 years that I did and the 1 year in the guards it changed my life.
oh yeah,
The direct,
no,
I
no.
just say, Gabe, my dad, I always asked him, why did you send all four of us, Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marines, and when we talk about it, but when you look back and you can see that, the jobs that we have, listen, I do as I'm told, I still do it. I have OCD when it comes to cleaning. I make
Yeah,
sure, I don't think that ever goes away. But my point, everybody out there, is after the military, it just continues on. You
yeah.
know, Tractor Supply today, I couldn't believe it. They put a thing over there, veterans parking right there now. So you get, look at that.
I do
Tractor
that to my
Supply, yep,
go-go's.
I can park right there. I was like, all right, they're even going. So it goes forward, even when you get out of the military. So, and at the next show, I'd really like to have you back on a couple weeks here and we'll talk,
Yeah,
more about this, about the real thing again. What that flyer, I love that. What is the flyer doesn't show. So I hope,
I got you.
some people really tonight got the insights from you and I really appreciate it. So, but on that note, I got to show this one more time. I'm sorry. There he is. I love it. There's the typical, look at it. There he is, the typical person that goes in the military. And you said you were what,
Well, you
17?
can't tell in those pictures, but I had quite a few piercings in as well.
Yeah, you had all that and all the new things
Yep.
that they do now. So, all right, Sergeant Ruman, thank you so much. And I'll
Hey,
talk to
thanks for having me.
Cynthia and we'll get you back on the show. So I appreciate it so much in your
Love to
time.
be there.
All right. Thank you for your service.
I
Bye.
appreciate it. Thank you for yours.